Okay, I have a new mic, guys. It's the one that we all got this new mic, and then we just didn't really know how to use it, but I got a new cord. So hopefully it sounds good. And we apologize for my mic troubles over the last few weeks.
It'll be interesting to see if yours sounds any different than mine and Brittany's when I'm
I
editing.
know.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry if it still sucks.
I think it sounds good.
What if it's like 10 times better and we sound like shit?
I mean, this microphone, what is it, like 3 times the cost of the other one?
It's a Shure.
Yeah, so hopefully it's good. It's a Shure. I also don't know which way is like the front or
The top.
the top. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Maybe that's also I wasn't talking into the top or something. I don't know. When I tried to use it, we could not hear it.
I don't know. I don't know.
It works.
But welcome back to another episode of So Glad We're Friends. I'm Maggie.
I'm Devin.
I'm Brittany, and I'm still stuffed up.
Dude, it's like, is it allergies at this point or is it sickness? Because mine is not going away.
Well, mine I know has like manifested into like because of all the drainage in my throat.
Yeah.
I'm like coughing now, so it sounds like I'm sick, but like it's just my body being like, get this out of our system.
Are you like hawking up loogies?
Sometimes, yeah.
Same.
I feel like you're sick 40% of the time.
Me?
Yeah.
I just am sniffly. I don't know. I like, okay, actually though, oh my God. I don't think I said this. Maybe this was on like our house episode, but I got my like house air ducts like checked to see if they needed to be cleaned because I was like convinced that there was something. This is like something that everyone needs to do, but it's not.
I wouldn't even think of that.
It's not as often as you actually think, but like if you obviously have like plants or you keep your windows open more, not plants, pets, maybe plants probably help things, but
They do.
or keep your windows open, whatever, it probably increases it. But I was convinced that like we were going to have to get them all cleaned. So I was like, hey, like let's book the inspection, let's book the cleaning, like let's just do this. And he was like, no, they're like so clean. And I'm like, what the fuck?
You're
Like,
going to say that they cleaned it.
no.
And I was going to be like, oh, fuck, I need to do that.
No, he was like, yeah, you really don't need this. And I was like,
Oh,
fuck.
well, that's good.
Yeah, but if I did have to clean them, then like it would explain like other things. But
Do you need a molecule?
maybe I need like 10 molecules, Dysons. I don't know.
Yeah, you would need like a lot of them.
I also could see it being like the floor, like the carpet, like getting my carpets super clean, but I also just want to like rip them up, so I don't want to pay too much money to like clean them.
Oh, yeah,
So,
that's
I
hard.
don't know. I'm in a dilemma because I think that, and then I also know that food causes me to be like somewhat stuffy sometimes too, like certain foods, but like I'm working on my gut first and then I'll figure out the like other shit. I don't know.
Wow. Rough
So,
life.
very in-depth experience on mine. I guess we could change our air filter more. That is the one thing that we could do better.
Oh, me too.
We're doing it now on the 1st of the month. I got the Amazon. Finley, please stop. Jesus. I got the Amazon monthly reoccurring
Okay, that's so
subscriptions.
smart. Yeah. You'll remember. Yeah.
It's been a really long time since I've changed mine. And I look at it every day and I think, oh, I need to buy a new one. And then
Is
I
yours
don't.
in the floor or on the ceiling?
Ceiling?
So this is the first house that I've ever had. We have floor vents and the air thing is on the floor too. So it's like gets really dirty because all the dog hair like goes in the vent on the floor.
The air
I
filter
can imagine.
like, is in your HVAC. Is it not?
No, it's in
Mine's
the floor.
in the roof.
Yeah, mine is usually
You
in
pull
the
up
roof.
you open a little cage or whatever, and then you just pull it out and then put a new one in.
No, that's never how mine's been. Mine have always been like in a
Really?
room, and it's like literally on the furnace, and you just like pull it in and out.
I've never
I
experienced
don't
that.
have a furnace.
Neither do I. Wait, what? I don't know where my furnace would be. I don't think I have a furnace. I have our air conditioning thing is
HVAC
outside in the
unit,
backyard
No.
and under our
Or
house
like a
in the
metal
crawl
thing
space.
that's like in your. You don't have a metal thing like in your, like in a room or like in a.
No.
I'm
She's like,
so
yeah, the furnace
perplexed.
room.
She just has a furnace room in all her houses.
You guys not have that? Have you never had one?
It'd be really funny
No.
if we were just playing a joke on you right now, Britt.
I
And
know.
like fully making it up.
I
But
feel
I'm
like you
really
guys are
not.
making
No,
things
I'm
up.
really not.
I want like a full tour of your house. to
Like
show
I
me.
have when they replace the air conditioning, it's like in our crawl space underneath the house. But like the big air conditioning unit is in our backyard.
But what about like the metal thing that does like the heat and stuff? That's underneath your
That's
crawl space?
outside.
I think it's outside, yeah.
It's a big giant thing outside, and it does heating and cooling.
Is it maybe too cold where you've always lived, so like they don't put it outside?
Maybe. I just thought they were always inside.
Hey, let us know. Where's your furnace and AC located? Do you have a furnace room? I'd love to know. That's
yeah, it
crazy.
sounds more like a really cold place thing.
That would make sense, maybe because it would like freeze outside or something.
Yeah. I'm very perplexed. Well, I guess it makes sense that, but like, yeah, I guess it kind of makes sense.
Well, no wonder you don't change the filter. That sounds much harder.
No, I think mine's probably much easier. I don't know.
I'll send a pic after of mine.
Yeah, please send
Floor
a pic.
vent.
I'm
Also, I'll
perplexed.
send a pic of mine too.
Yeah.
It's dirty though.
Okay, can I talk about my favorite couple right now on TikTok? I don't know if you guys have seen them on your.
Is this on your notes?
Yes, it's Tyler and Gabbers. Her name is actually Gabby, but like her handle is Gabbers. Okay, here's a backstory. So Tyler like
Not
interviews
Gibby.
people. No, Gabby.
Okay.
She's like 6'1" blonde, really cute. And then Tyler's like 6'9", really cute, Southern. Anyways, so Tyler does like a bunch of interviews. He like talks a lot about like to tall people and like does kind of like relatable videos. It's like his whole bit is kind of like I'm 6'9" and everyone's like always asking me about things about tall people and like so he's just trying to like make things more relatable for them. And so he like interviews guys and girls and like so I think he flew to Miami to like interview her. In like one of his I'm sure he did like multiple things in Miami, but like one of his things was like to interview her. And when they were interviewing, they had like so much chemistry. And so they like went, so he did the interview, they had a lot of chemistry, and then she interviewed him on her TikTok.
Did they go on a coffee date?
Yes, so you saw
Okay,
that
I saw
one.
that one. Yeah.
You didn't see the beginning of it?
No, I was confused because I saw that one and then her like looking at his TikTok after that, like somebody else posted.
It's so fucking cute because it's like
Okay,
you could
yeah, keep
see them,
explaining.
like getting
That
like,
I would
interested.
hate for that all to be public.
So it is kind of interesting. Like this is like their, I think, second week maybe, like being in this super public spotlight. Like, I mean, all the airlines are like, oh my God, like let's fly you out to South Carolina to visit him. But anyways, so then she interviewed him.
That's so much pressure.
She interviewed him on her TikTok and like he basically asked her out in that video. Because again, they still had that like insane chemistry. They were just like so cute. Then they did like a coffee date while they were like he asked her out to coffee. They did coffee while he was still in Miami. And then I guess they've been like talking and like connecting still, like FaceTiming on the phone. And he wrote her a song. It's so cute. And he sent her like a little care package with like all of her favorite things.
That's cute. So he doesn't have a girlfriend.
And it was sponsored by UPS for both of them.
Oh, what? It was a full UPS sponsorship.
I know. I was like, how did this happen? I hope if this is like a fucking hoax, I will be so pissed. I will be so mad. But anyways,
That's so hard because they probably feel so much pressure to like continue and obviously take these opportunities and stuff if they're getting brand deals out of it.
yeah, but
I saw in the search bar in the comments about him having a girlfriend. Is that not true?
No, I think it's probably just people trying to find her.
Oh,
Because it's like Tyler's like girlfriend.
Oh,
And then,
also
Okay.
TikTok just puts like the most fucking controversial search terms.
They need to get rid of that.
they do.
Yeah, no, they're fucking with us. They're like literally doing that on purpose. Like nobody's even searching for that, and they're like
Or
just
they
trying
do,
to stir
like,
up drama.
So and so like weight loss or so and so like gained weight. Like those I think are so, or like so and so before. Like this girl is like
yeah.
really vulnerable and talking about like how she had gained weight and how it's been really hard for her. And like the search term on that fucking video was whatever her name was before. And I was like,
Oh my God.
how fucking devastating would that be?
But I think it's because once they put it there, then people click on it. Like, I definitely do that sometimes because I'm like, oh, is that true?
Then they get down like a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
When they stay on the app longer. But he booked her a flight. He paid for it himself. He said, like, even though we had like hundreds of people like offering to pay for this flight and also like airlines reaching out, he's like, I have to do this as a man.
Oh, well, that's good.
I was like, that's lame. You should have just taken the sponsorship.
Yeah, because you probably could have gotten paid extra.
But that's showing it more because, like, even the UPS thing, it's like, that's not out of the goodness of his own heart. That's, like, for a brand deal.
But, like, the note, he did, like, handwritten notes on the, like, little
cute.
snacks. He got her, like, a cat toy because she has a cat. And, yeah, so then she's going to go visit him. But they're just really, it's just so pure.
It reminds me of that. Did you see where there was like a mom who met this girl out and the girl posted like meeting the mom and the mom was trying to set her up with the son and then like the son ended up flying
Lauren.
in. Yeah, her.
Lauren
I feel like
Raymond.
situations like that, it's like a lot of pressure to
yeah.
like continue and then you're like, oh, what if it doesn't work out?
And everybody's always asking.
Oh my God. She was so pissed because like she literally grew like, she had been doing TikTok for a really long time. I think she grew 800,000 followers in like, you know, less than a month.
And then do they
of,
only
like,
care about that? Like,
yeah. And then so I think a lot of her followers have dropped off.
that sucks.
A lot of them have still been interested.
What would you do, Devin?
Yeah, I hate that. On one of my posts that I did, a guy responded and said like something about would love to have an introverted girlfriend or something like that. And then all these women underneath him were like, oh my God, you guys should go out. You guys should date and stuff like this.
Was he even cute? Was he private or like did he have pictures?
I didn't find him attractive. And then in the comments, he like invited me to, he was like, not like invited, but like kind of invited me to go to a wedding with him or something.
What?
And everybody, like these people in the comments were like, oh my God, did you see the comment? And I just pretended that I didn't see it because it's like, this is not.
Does he even live in Phoenix?
No.
Oh, like you're going to just fly somewhere to go to a wedding?
Yeah. But like so many people were so invested in this. And I was like, I don't care about this. And I don't also like, yeah, I wouldn't like it to. I am fine with getting recognition, being public about other things, but like a relationship like that is way too real and way too like vulnerable.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So if you started dating someone, like say you started dating someone right now, like you start going on dates and you're like vibing with them and then you slowly get into a relationship, at what point do you think that you would post about the person?
Yeah, well, like that's in my control.
But what do you think you would do? Do you think you'd
do
wait
like the little
till,
hints?
Yeah, I think I would do little hints.
Oh, I would fucking die for that.
Yeah.
People would freak out. That's so exciting. Just like
I would do a
Willow
total
or
like
something.
2-month build up.
Yeah. But see, like I would have control over that and people wouldn't be like, they would still just be invested in me because they wouldn't know this other person anyways, you know?
Yeah.
And I would slowly get to introduce that person if they wanted to be in my content, or I could just leave it how my content still is now and not ever introduce them.
Or you just
fully,
have them pop up like after a year of dating, like in one of your cooking videos or like Weekend Not Alone.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be so cute.
That'd be crazy. I just saw in that wedding Facebook group I'm in where there's wild stories. This one girl posted, she was like, how should I tell my family, like, I'm getting married? Do I let them know, like, they don't even know I was dating somebody and we're going to get married in a few weeks? Like, should I just tell them at the wedding? And everyone was like, what? Like, you just haven't told anybody that you're even dating somebody and you're about to get married?
Can you imagine having a family member that is that private? Like, if one of my sisters was like that, I would be so... I would be
so mad too.
I would not like that whatsoever.
That is so funny. That Facebook group is probably so insane with like all of the different wedding stories.
It is wild. Like people are crazy. It makes you feel very normal. It's like, oh, I have no problems.
That's true.
It's crazy. Okay, is there anything else, or should we go into the topic?
I thought Brittany had a list of things.
No, that was my main one. That
Oh.
was my like one thing that I wanted to share with the
I'm going to
family.
do a deep dive after because I want to see the other videos because I felt like I didn't fully know what was going on.
I can't believe you didn't go searching after you saw that one video.
I know. That's kind of weird of me.
I literally have a rotation of like both their TikToks, both their TikTok stories, and then both their Instagram stories to see what's going on.
That is so great. So it's only been like a few weeks.
I think it's been like less than a week. I think it's been like maybe a full week.
Oh my God. I would hate that.
That is crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts.
Also, see, like, what annoys me is like all these people pushing and assuming that I have a connection with someone when I don't, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, like,
if
who
I
even
did
knows?
really like this person and he really liked me too, then it would be different. But if it was like all these people who are like, because people get so fucking excited over like little things and it annoys me because I'm like, I don't care, or I don't like this person, or I don't want to do that, you know?
Mm-hmm. And it's like people are good intentioned, obviously. Like they just want what's best.
But
for
everybody's
you, for
so
you to be happy.
fucking obsessed with
love.
relationships.
Yeah.
Brittany's over here like, yeah, that's me. And I'm like, I
Literally,
fucking
as
hate
you
it.
said, that's just I love love.
Love it.
But what if they don't love each other?
Well, I'll find a new couple to be obsessed with.
Dude, I don't know. Also, my friend Victoria, one of my best friends, she is like dating a boy now, and she's never really had like a boyfriend ever in her life, and it's just the cutest thing ever. They're not like official yet, but I met him. He came to my wedding shower, and he was so nice. And like he just takes her out on dates all the time, and like texts her the cutest things, and he like pays for all of the dates, and like she's just never been treated like this, and it's so cute
like
to
a
like see
real
her like
man.
someone. Yeah,
That's awesome.
it's so cute. I think he's like 35, low key.
Oh.
Which is kind of crazy. But he doesn't look 35. Like, I didn't know that.
I feel like that's a defined age gap.
Yeah. I think we're old enough now where it's like, if we were like 20 or 21, that would be different. But I think over 24, 25, you're good.
I still feel like 35 is too old for me because I'm a baby.
Bitch.
I'm a teenager.
You would have attended high school together with a 35-year-old. That's funny. Okay, I feel like we're talking today about depression and like our current mental health states and stuff. And I feel like it's just going to be hard for me to talk about because I'm not in a depressed state right now.
You've been killing it. I'm proud of you.
I don't think
With
I've been
all your
killing
wedding
it.
planning and stuff.
I feel like I've just like, I'm in that phase, you know, where you like
You're obsessed with it?
don't kind of, and like you just don't really let yourself like sit in your feelings. Like I'm sure if I really fully sat and like started thinking about my whole life, I would have a breakdown, but like I'm not really doing that.
Nobody does that. Anybody would have a breakdown if they started thinking about their whole life.
That's true. I
I
guess
think
that
you're
is
doing
true.
pretty well.
But I found this really long explanation of depression on Reddit. I don't know if I should read the whole thing, but it felt like a really good definition.
Go for it.
Okay. My monologue. You can be empty one day, super empty the next, or numb the day after that. It constantly changes, maybe through the day, but it's still all the same. Even if you are doing something new or something you've always wanted to do, or even something that makes you feel a bit normal, in the back of your head, you still feel absolutely nothing. You could be in your favorite place in the world or look around and feel like you were still in your bed just looking at the ceiling. You go to work or school and day in and day out and do whatever you have to do, but when you come home at night, you wonder why you do it. But you get up in the morning and a wave crashes over you that makes you drift through the day, and when you come home, you don't remember what you did because it just seems like you blacked out and are returning to your nest where empty bottles, sacks of weed, and other drugs lay. I didn't read that part. For you to use, so you continue drifting through your night like you just did your day. You haven't felt anything in years. You don't know what it's like to feel joy or happiness. It's been so long you just somewhat know the definitions, but you don't know what it means. You lay on your couch when family and friends invite you out. You say you're busy or you have another excuse so you don't have to face the outside because your little nest makes you forget temporary everything you don't feel like surrounds you. You want to die, but you just can't quit or you're too lazy. So you just wait for it to take you itself, but it's taking too long. You do everything that is expected of you, but you still don't know why you do because it makes you more empty and even more numb. You think you're just sad or broken because the rage of sadness has been going on for so long and it's so wide. that a little sad makes you think you're fulfilled and happy, while sitting on the edge of the balcony just seems like another Tuesday. But you still smile walking through the doors of work or school, and the people that surround you joke with you and you smile and joke back to make you seem like you're part of the pack, but in the back of your mind, all you can think about is what a piece of shit I am. I feel like that's pretty accurate. It had like the most votes on Reddit of people being like, this is a great description of what it feels like.
I've never let myself be that low for that long. And I know it's not like a choice to let yourself, but I guess, I mean, I've never been that low for that long. I always am able to get out of it some way.
Yeah, I would say maybe my longest is like, it's hard because I would say like maybe a few years, but with weeks of not feeling like that.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of hard too, because when you're like away from it, like when you're kind of like not in it, it feels like far away, and it feels like it's not something that can like impact you or affect you, because you like you almost like block it out and like forget what it was like. It's kind of like a distant memory, you know? And then like when you're in it, it feels like you're never gonna get out of it. It's like this deep dark hole that like you can't really move from.
That's literally how I feel on my period cycle. Like, I forget when I'm happy. I'm like, oh, I forget that feeling. And then when I'm back in it, I'm like, this is never going to end, even though I know that it literally will in a week.
For my periods, I get fucking frustrated because it's like, okay, yeah, this is going to end for like 3 days, and then I'm going to be like this again.
Literally.
Yeah.
That gets frustrating, that you know it's coming back. It's right around the corner, lurking.
It sucks.
Is there like, have you guys ever, I feel like sometimes I don't like tracking it, because then I'm like, I don't psych myself out of like that I'm actually feeling that way. Because then I like play into it, like I'm like, oh, I'm like so moody because blah blah blah, and I'm like, no, it could be because of something completely different.
I feel you.
My period tracker used to send me notifications that would be like, you're going to be low energy today, and it would pop up on my screen or something, and I'd be like, fuck, like I didn't want to know that or whatever.
See, that's how I feel like about the Oura ring, like that it would make me feel like, oh, you're supposed to be tired today. But the period tracking app, it never makes me feel that way, because I usually always feel the emotion first, and then I like go check, and then I'm like, oh, that makes sense. Or I just start my period and then I know. But I set Cameron up. Flow has like a thing where you can send your partner, like link it to your Flow account, and then it tells them like when you're at in your cycle and like what you might experience and stuff.
So helpful.
It's really cool. Yesterday he came home and he's like, "Do you have tender breasts?" I was like, "Oh, a little bit."
I'd be like, "Don't say that again."
He's like, "I've never really heard you complain about that. You mostly just complain about cramps." I'm like, "Yeah, well, it's like unless you're touching them, they don't just like."
It's
they're not
because you
just
have
like
small
sore.
boobs. For me,
yeah,
like, once I get up and they like drop, I'm like,
oh,
you know,
yeah,
like,
because
once
that
they
doesn't
move.
happen to me.
Yeah.
Joe's always like, sometimes just comes and like grabs him really hard, and I'm like, ow, like, please don't do that right now.
Did you ask consent?
On this part of the month and not this part of the month.
He needs the period tracker app.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense, because he was like, if my balls were sore, I'd be complaining about it all the time. And I'm like, but it doesn't feel like
they'd be
that.
hanging
That
around.
makes sense that your boobs would be feeling it.
Yeah. That's also annoying. I'm like, oh, cool, my boobs fucking hurt 2 weeks before I start my period. And I'm like, what? Why did our names turn purple?
That was weird. Literally no idea.
It just updated in the middle of me talking about my boobs. Yeah, that gets frustrating though, because I'm like, this feels like a never-ending cycle.
Literally, it's a never-ending cycle.
Is yours 2 weeks before?
Yeah, it feels like it.
Mine's like a week before, I think.
Same.
It's like, you know, it builds and builds and builds. It starts a little bit, and I'm like, oh, my boobs kind of hurt a little bit, and then it just gets worse and worse.
But don't you feel worse? Is it after your period that you feel worse? Or
lately
before?
I have been.
That's so interesting.
And I don't know if I'm like, because of after my period, I'm like deficient in something, or like, do I need to be
like
eating
low
more iron
iron
during my period or something like that? I don't know.
Do you have low iron naturally?
Not the last time I checked, no.
I always be craving a burger or something.
Yeah.
I should get my blood drawn during my period.
That's
That's
a
smart.
good idea.
That is a good idea. I wonder what they're doing testing on stuff like that, if that matters.
because
Like,
they
how
don't
much
give a
does your
shit.
blood work, like your blood
It probably
change?
does.
It probably
And they
does.
probably don't test that.
I mean, because usually a blood panel, like they can test for your hormones too, so that probably also impacts it. Like your hormones are going to be different.
I feel like they never fully test my blood for like all the things that I want it tested for.
No.
You have to like ask them, but like most of the
Yeah,
time your
bad at
insurance
that.
covers everything. You just have to ask them to do it.
I need to do that next time. I'll be like,
Yeah.
run everything, please.
Yeah, I want to know all the things.
Yeah.
I don't know.
This YouTuber that I know, well, I don't like know her, Jess fam. She got one of those like full body scan things where it tells you like if you have anything wrong with you, and that is so cool. I think it was a brand deal.
Nuvo. Yeah, I think they do brand deals. Or they give you like a discount and a discount code.
Like that would be crazy. But imagine also like something really bad comes up and then you have to like make a sponsored post about it.
Oh my god, that would suck.
Oh my god, that would be horrific. My dad actually though, he sent me this book and didn't tell me he sent it. So this like it's called like Outlive the Science and Art of Longevity. And I just get this book in the mail one day and I was like, who sent me this fucking book? And then like 2 weeks later my dad like calls me and we're just chatting. And he's like, hey, did you ever get that book I sent you? I was like, what book? He's like, told me what it was. But it's like the concept of the book is just like all the things you can do to like be more preventative versus like reactive.
Oh, that's cool.
And like it just dives into like more details of it. But I think it like makes a lot of sense to do some of those things because you can catch a lot of stuff early. And then like the treatment process and like all of the recovery and everything is so much easier than if you waited like too long.
I think that should be like a government sponsored thing where just everybody at age 30 or something goes and gets it done.
You would think.
Because otherwise it'll fuck up the system even more when only the rich people can do it, and then like all the races, everything will just go back to the white fucking supremacy of the rich white people who can afford it and then can get the treatments and then live longer.
Yeah. Well, also, I think it's the frustrating thing too is that there's like so many things that you can like get if you like know what to say to a doctor. Like,
yeah.
And you're not like scamming the system or anything. You're just like, hey, I have family history of colon cancer and like positive polyps and stuff. Like, I want to get a colonoscopy when I'm like 30. Like, you can say those different things, or like if you have history of breast cancer, like all those different markers. But like, there's no rule book or like no thing of like, oh, this is what you're supposed to say to get this.
Oh my god, I wonder if there's a book like that. That would be really smart, like based on your age or what previous history you have of like what you should be getting done or asking for.
It's called Google.
I'll let you know if this book has any details. I'm sure it does.
That's funny.
It's also just going to be like eat raw vegetables and fruit.
I feel like that doesn't really work for me.
Meditate, work out.
Okay, so that's also what I wanted to talk about when it comes to mental health and depression and whatnot, is like I feel like I've really learned how much the things that everybody says works actually does help. Like it really does actually help when you work out. It really does actually help when you take vitamins or when you're eating healthy and eating foods that feel good for you. But I think people really overlook that, like, you can't do that sometimes when you're so depressed, like that you're like physically unable.
It's the mental hoops that you have to jump through because your brain is telling you.
Like, you can't just magically go.
Yeah, it's really hard to get yourself up and get out.
I think those are the times where, like, you can't rely on yourself to do those things. Like, I feel like right now I'm trying to, like, do more journaling again because I, like, realize if I'm not journaling, like, I'm kind of ignoring myself. I'm, like, ignoring my feelings, my thoughts, my emotions. I'm just kind of, like, pushing them aside.
I love that.
And when I journal, like, I journaled like 2 weeks ago and just like sobbed because I was like, wow, there was like so much that I like haven't just put out. And like all I needed was to do like a journaling session to like kind of get my mind right. But I make excuses and I'm like, oh, there's like not enough time, or like, oh, I need to go answer this email, or I need to do these things. And I'm like, I need to set a timer for 10 minutes and just write for 10 minutes and then be done with it and leave it alone. It's fine. But when it comes to like working out is one of those things where like I don't leave it to myself to try and like do a workout, because I probably won't do it. So that's why I think I need to do group classes or have like a personal trainer to like make me go do it.
That was like really profound, the ignoring yourself when you're not journaling. I really love that. That's so true. That's like what I was saying when I just am ignoring my feelings. It really is like you're ignoring yourself. Wow. That's crazy.
I know. I think that was like the one line I wrote like last week, and then I'd like stopped journaling, and I was like, that's so you understand, but you didn't want to like capitalize on that thought and like actually like write more down.
Yeah. Wow. But yeah, for me it was definitely getting on medicine that like made me then able to do those other things, even though I still struggle.
It's like helps you take a step in the right direction to feel better.
Yeah, because like having the accountability of like group classes and everything, that is also great. But some people, that doesn't like, it doesn't bother them to just cancel the class or whatever, to like just stay in bed and not do it.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I definitely had
like,
periods like during COVID, I had no problem just like paying for whatever membership and just never going. Like I did not care, because that was like really the first time I felt like depressed for like an extended period of time with just like the buildup of everything, and there was like nothing that could make me care about going to work out or whatever.
Yeah, I keep thinking Devin's gonna say something, but then you don't.
I'm just thinking it's funny that like how depressed extroverts were during COVID times, and how I was literally thriving.
I was like, woohoo! Nobody else is doing anything, and I can feel comfortable just staying home.
Yep. That was like such a very low period of life.
Yeah, no, it makes sense.
I have such fond memories of that time.
I also do feel really bad. Like, I mean, I was still in college, graduating in 2021. But like for people who are in high school or like really actively in college, like I was doing just online by that point. But like if you were going to class, I feel like that really sucks. Like high schoolers, middle schoolers, that really sucks.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that.
I think it was like cool for a day.
Yeah.
Like a month
but
or
then
two.
like they had like a year where they're losing all their social skills. If I was in 7th grade during that time, I don't think I would have ever come back from that. I don't think I would have ever been able to get adjusted into social life in like high school and stuff again.
Oh my God, that's so true. Same.
Do you also feel like other things kind of can make you feel more depressed? Like I feel like for stress for me, it almost emulates some sort of depression, but it's not like depression for me. I don't know exactly if that makes sense.
Like anxiety?
Yeah, I think like it's like the level, it's like stress levels that manifest like into anxiety, and then like those sometimes manifest into like I kind of like it's a blurred line for me sometimes, or like the symptoms sometimes feel like the same.
Yeah, like for me, like if I get stressed about something, then it turns into the overall picture of like not feeling good enough, and then I can get into a sad depression state.
Yeah, like if something happens that makes my mind start spiraling into a negative area, then I'll just like feel like a piece of shit and beat myself up or whatever, and it's stemming from something that's actually really happening or whatever that really happened.
Yeah, I do also feel like lately Joe and I have been like really working on trying to like be more aware of our emotions and like communicating those things and communicating our feelings. And while it's like so helpful and healthy and like we're learning a lot about each other, it also can like be really overwhelming and just feel like, oh my God, are we ever going to get to a place where like we both feel like good?
Honestly, I say that all the time. I think that's a really hard part about being in a relationship. Like, it goes both ways, because there's days where I'm like in a really shitty mood or I'm feeling really depressed, and Cameron's like in a good mood, and it doesn't like ruin his day, but in a way kind of, because like if I'm being a bitch or like being just crying all day, that
Yeah.
shits on what he wants to do. And then if he's feeling that way and I'm like having a good day, then I get annoyed because I'm like, I'm just trying to have a good day here. So I said that this weekend. I was like, I wish we could just like pre-plan our bad days. So like we're both feeling bad on the same days.
I know. And I think it's also, I think just like the self-reflection thing is really, really hard because like both of us have just been self-reflecting so much on like this upset you and like this is my part in it and this is your part in it. This is a deep-rooted thing of me and this is a deep-rooted thing from you. And that's like really overwhelming for me to like just think through. But at the same time, that's like kind of what therapy and all that stuff, you have to be able to do the work. And it's not something you could just kind of do the work one day and like leave it for like 3 months and then come back to it again. It has to be like a constant
For sure.
thing. And I think that's really tough for me sometimes.
Definitely. I think that was like year 4 for us, was like, that was during COVID and like really working through all those like past each of our childhoods that made us act in certain ways. And it's not even like fighting, it's like our own individual patterns, but then making such big things and like having to work through it so much. It did feel like a whole freaking like year of that probably. But then once you kind of get it figured out, then it's easier when you come up to those things again, because then you can just like reflect on the past.
Yeah. Did Cameron do therapy like separately from you?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he didn't love the therapist.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was when he was doing therapy too. So that's probably why.
And then you guys did couples therapy as well during that time, or like after?
Yeah, we only did 3 sessions though, so I wouldn't say it was like this huge undertaking. But those 3 sessions really made a difference.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like even just one session to help understand each other.
Because it was really like I was going into it like, this girl's going to tell me I'm right, like, and is going to tell him all the things he needs to change. And then it was very much the opposite. And I was like, oh, I didn't realize I had problems. Yeah.
She's horrible. We should never go back.
Yeah.
I also think it is like something that I do love about social media is all of those accounts that are like therapy accounts, or I forget the other name of one of them, but like they put like what you're feeling into an
A dialogue,
something you could send to somebody, or dialogue, so you could send it to somebody. And I think like I just found like a couples therapist account, and I was like, wow, this is like so helpful to have, because it's like if Joe's trying to tell me something and it's like not like getting through to me, like being able to find an example on that account and be like, hey, this is like what it means, I think is just like a much gentler way, or like more, I don't know, a better explanation maybe sometimes.
Yeah,
I love that. Like when they act it out too.
Yeah,
I would be using those as, this is what was done to me.
I definitely
This is what's happening. This is why I'm this way.
Yeah.
But that helps so much. It's like, oh, and it makes you
as
feel
long
so
as
much
you're
less
not
alone.
saying that you did this to me. To the person you're sending.
Well, that's
it
like
to.
the number one rule is to be not like, you do this and you do that. You have to approach it as like, I feel this way.
This is because of you.
But I think that those are like, but all of those accounts, like whether it's just like on depression or anxiety or like any of those things, I think they do a really good job of helping you explain it to other people, or just like not feel alone. Like, oh, somebody is like putting a label on this. It's not just like this random feeling. It's like actually a thing. Like the holistic psychologist, I think, does a really like
love
really,
that
really
account.
good ones. Yeah, I kind of want to read her book. She just came out with a new book. I think.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, probably wouldn't read it. Just like listen to it.
I was just gonna say that. Like, I really need to like listen to books like that, because I never want to read them.
Yeah, I kind of want to do like overkill sometimes though, and like read along with them. Like, especially if they have like pictures or like charts and stuff.
With your highlighters.
Use my little highlighters.
No, that would be probably really good to like actually pay attention to that more. We got like several marriage workbooks and books and stuff, and we've barely touched them whatsoever.
What are they? Like, how did you find them?
I wonder if they're going to be helpful at all.
Well, Cameron started reading the John Gottman and his wife have a book, which I know is like a really good one. I haven't read it, but he went on a little overnight camping trip with his sister, and she like fell asleep early and stuff, and he came back and he was telling me about this. He's like, I she was asleep, so I was in the hammock and I started playing the book, and they were talking about like ways to fight and ways that you communicate, and he was like, this sounds like me and Maggie, like this sounds like the way that we do it right. I was like, oh, that's good. I'm glad to hear. But I should probably read it as well. There's like a lot of workbooks and things to do. That's like basically they're like psychologists write them and stuff. It's not just like randoms.
Yeah. There's another couple that's like an ADHD couple, and they're like primarily on TikTok, and I was like, wow, this is really nice.
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah,
like some
those
of
would be
things-
helpful to send to Joe. Like,
I know.
I feel
This is
very
why I
soon
do
when
this.
see
Those. Yeah. Because it seems crazy sometimes if I'm like doing, like I literally, there was yesterday or today, I was like going to my computer to like look something up for him. And I just like started doing emails and like completely forgot what I was supposed to do for him.
Yeah.
And then he's like, did you look it up? And I was like, what? And then like just, it's out. It's gone. Like within 2 seconds.
That literally happened to us the other day. I was like, did you find it? He's like, what? No. I was like, you were just said you were looking this up. Like,
Yeah.
you're not going to tell me. But do you feel like when you take your medicine that helps a lot or no? Because like there's fully a difference with Cameron. Like I can tell on days when he takes medicine versus not.
It definitely helps. I think like sometimes I think what I've been trying to play around with like my dosing and like stuff like that. I haven't really liked the extended release as much, so I've been leaning on the immediate release. And I need to take another one at like 10 o'clock because I take it at like 5:30 in the morning. So then I need to take it at like 10:30, which is like 5 hours later. Like right now.
That's funny. What is like when it's extended release? How many hours is that it's supposed to continue releasing for?
I don't really know. I think it depends, like person to person.
Because that's just so
I feel
don't
like
understand.
mine might be like 5-6 hours, maybe 7. I feel like
That's
there's
a long
probably a
time.
drop off at 6. I've never looked it up, but I don't know. I haven't really liked the way it makes me feel though, so by like midday I need another one. But then I've like normally I remember at like 1 or 2, and by that time it's like too late to take it.
That makes sense. Dev, did you make that appointment with the psychiatrist?
No.
Are you going to?
Yeah, I just keep forgetting.
Forgetting, or you don't want to call?
I literally will forget. I forgot about it. And
Did
then
they give
we
you
were
like a
talking.
recommendation for a specific person, or do you have to like find?
Yeah, so I need to like look them up and see like if they're actually who they are, if it's even good.
Do you know if
Yeah.
it's a girl even?
No.
Would you be fine with a boy or no?
I don't know. I have to look them up, I guess.
Look them up on.
I don't
Do you have the
think I would.
ZocDoc app?
Maybe.
I feel like the ZocDoc app is really nice for like looking all that stuff up.
Yeah. I know. I keep thinking that like I keep putting off therapy because I don't want to like sit down and look for someone and all that. But if I would have started a year ago, like how much different I would be, you know, like how much I would have been able to work through or whatever. Like
Yeah.
the more I'm putting it off, the more I'm putting off like changing my life or whatever.
For sure.
Yeah.
But you could look at that as starting now, because it could be you could do it now, and then a year from now you'll be happy, or a year from now you could be like, damn, I really should have done that a year ago.
Joe found his on ZocDoc.
Oh,
Yeah.
his
He was-
therapist?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I honestly didn't even know you could find full therapists on ZocDoc.
Yeah.
me either.
There was like a lot of great filters to like find out like what type of person you wanted.
Oh, cool.
And like insurance and stuff, I bet, because you can normally do that with ZocDoc.
Yep.
Cool.
Made it really easy.
Great tip. I feel like probably there's more openings and stuff now too. Like there was that huge period during COVID and after COVID where like it seemed just like everyone was booked. Like you couldn't find somewhere because nobody was accepting new patients.
I think you could even filter for that, so you don't have to be like annoyed if
Yeah.
Yeah.
so
that's
someone
annoying.
doesn't have like a wait list, because that would be so annoying. You find like the perfect person, they're like 6-month wait list.
Yeah, that's what was happening to me. Like anybody that looked like somebody Which I really do be judging a book by its cover when it comes to finding therapists and doctors. So maybe I also need to not do that.
Well, I judge them when like they don't have enough like of a bio. Like if they don't have enough of like, oh, I do a lot of this type of therapy, or like this is my philosophy or like thought process on like therapy.
Yeah.
If they like don't give any of that info, I'm like, okay, bye.
Yeah.
Like, put 2 ounces of effort into it.
And when they describe or specialize in things that you're struggling with and like write that out.
Sometimes though, like I like when they go into depth about the type of people that they work with, but then I'm like, well, fuck, I need help with this, but then I also need help with this, and then I also have this problem. So it's like, how do I pick? I don't want to be so specific in like, I work with people who have travel anxiety, you know, like I want to be able to.
Maybe
that's how I
the
felt
biggest
too.
topic, like maybe depression or anxiety.
I can't decide what it is. That's my problem.
Well, the good news is that they're still therapists, so they can probably help with anything.
Yeah.
And realistically, it probably does fall under all one bigger umbrella, but like it's just hard for us to like connect the dots there about things.
And also, I could see someone a couple times for one problem, and if it's not working out, then try someone else. Like,
True.
And you have
Would
us
you
to like be like, hey, are they good or not good? Because that's what I do with John. Like, hey, how was it today? Like, did you find it helpful? And he's like, yeah. Because at first he was like not on the, he was like on the fence. I was like, it's okay if you want to like switch. Like, it's not a big deal.
yeah.
I do want to go.
I feel like I should see a psychiatrist first initially and see what they, you know, want to diagnose me with or whatever the fuck, and then they could probably help me find
so
a
interesting
counselor.
to me.
I'm sure they would refer me to people based on what I'm presenting as.
Yeah.
Like that's just so crazy that you can talk for 50 minutes and they can just diagnose you with things. Like how do they? No.
Yeah, like when my sister saw a psychiatrist, maybe this was a misunderstanding, but she like basically almost diagnosed my sister with bipolar. And that is not accurate at all.
But that's the thing is I think that like my sister had like probably, I think for her bipolar diagnosis, it took like finding the right therapist and like a bunch of other stuff, but like she was just diagnosed as depressed and like anxiety and ADD for I don't even know how long. Probably like 10 years. And then just got her bipolar diagnosis.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's where I feel like diagnoses can also hurt in some ways if you're like, then you get diagnosed, but then for years still it's not correct, or you're like, I still don't feel like that's helping me.
It's really harmful when like medication's involved and you're on the wrong meds for an extended period of time.
For sure.
So
I am really excited to get off birth control. I'm scared, obviously, because I'm not trying to have a baby. But I'm like excited to see, like, what if like all my mental health problems just go away? That would be so crazy.
Would be interesting.
But probably not. Like when people say that, like it's like I had anxiety before I was on birth control.
Yeah.
Yeah. But maybe it'll like present differently, or like you'll have different symptoms.
True.
I don't know. I don't remember what getting off birth control is like. I just did it and I didn't think about it.
Yeah.
That's probably good.
I didn't prepare. I didn't like do anything. I was just like, I'm getting off of this.
I feel like that's better because if you're constantly thinking of it every single day, then you might be like too picking up on symptoms or like categorizing things that aren't related.
True.
I was mostly just worried about having another stroke.
Yeah, valid.
Fair.
But I think my body works pretty normally. It functions normally. I just have mood swings.
Do you think you could be bipolar?
No. I don't see that behavior.
I barely think I have clinical depression. I think I just have anxiety.
Yeah. That'll be nice when you get like if they can tell you anything differently.
I think I'm neurodivergent in some way.
Well, that can just be like ADHD.
What else can be
Well, for sure.
neurodivergent besides ADD?
Autism.
Oh.
But the thing is, neurodivergent just means that your brain doesn't work in the norm, the way that like society,
which I would say like most
typically
creators
works.
are, most like actors, like anybody in a non-traditional field. I feel like your brain.
I feel like a
kinda
lot of
thinks little
entrepreneurs are neurodivergent.
for sure.
But that's why I don't really understand like why being an introvert isn't neurodivergent, because that is not the typical like what society thinks your brain should function.
Well, what percent of the population is introverts? I feel like it's a pretty high percentage of introverts. It's not like a small percentage.
Because I feel like that would go back to people thinking of the definition of being an introvert wrong. Because like, I feel like that's not. I mean, I'm sure it all has to do with your brain, of like where you get your energy from.
I think that if you're drained by socializing, that's neurodivergent.
People are gonna hate this episode of our medical talk.
30 to 50%.
Yeah.
30 to 50% is very high.
Yeah.
That makes sense. And then I wonder what percent is like in the middle, you know?
Yeah.
Neurodivergent just means that your brain isn't working in the typical way. And I think that being unable to socialize for a long time is not typical, because that's how society is set up. Like they want you to be able to socialize and be, you know.
But I think that just goes back to mostly men setting up our society in a way that works for them, usually extra.
Well, yeah, but the reason that people with autism are neurodivergent is it's not because it's not normal or fine. It's just because it's not the way that society expects you to behave. You don't have the social cues that society has set up.
Yeah.
It is still a construct of how society has been deemed normal, quote unquote.
Yeah.
I don't think that while I do think that like there are certain things that like certain introvert things like society doesn't think are normal, I feel like a lot of like introverts like just are very normal people. Like it's not like,
well, yeah, I'm not saying that we're not, but we've had to like conform. We have to mask. We have to practice. We have to get good at fitting in with the normal society.
But does that go back to like being socially anxious versus being an introvert?
No, I don't think so. I don't think it has to do with being socially anxious. I think it just means like what gives you energy, what drains you, what you prefer to do, what you find to be fun or comforting or whatever, versus what like the norm society wants you to deem as fun or a normal way to spend your time.
but
or
I
whatever.
think like, for instance, it's maybe not necessarily introversion, but like say you go into like a room full of new people. I feel like it's not necessarily like an introvert thing or an extrovert thing versus like outgoing versus more like shy or like more.
I'm not talking
reserved.
about outgoing and shy. I'm just talking about what drains you.
But that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, because I feel like
isn't it only draining? Like if it's just draining you, you still act the same to people. Like it's only about the way.
So it's not really society.
But then like once you're drained, you kind of have to, if you're still in this social situation, you have to put on a mask and fake it and
that's
still try to appear like you're interested, even though maybe you're bored. Like when you're an introvert, you get bored by small talk and stupid conversations. It's hard to focus because you're not being stimulated enough. Introversion has a lot to do with your mental stimulation and social stimulation, and that's the same thing that autism has to do with, and ADHD. It's all like about how your brain is being stimulated, and so that's why I think, I don't know, I mean, I'm not saying that it is neurodivergent, but I feel like it kind of is.
No, that makes sense. I get what you're saying. That's like once you reach the point of being drained, then you have to like act a different way in public.
Mm-hmm. And your brain is just stimulated differently than the normal people are stimulated.
Yeah.
your brain is more sensitive to stimulation. And like, it's just annoying that when I talk about that, people are like, oh, are you autistic? It's like, no, introversion is the same thing dealing with stimulation. So maybe introversion should maybe be categorized as neurodivergent.
But that's why it's so hard when there's like so many things that are so similar. Like that's where I struggle so much
know.
with finding like what and getting diagnosed with things. Then it's like everything is so similar, and so much stuff overlaps. Like looking, I think
Yeah.
like back in the day when the DSM had like way less things. I feel like almost that's better in a way of like you can categorize it in a bigger picture, but then also obviously it's
Then
better.
we'd all just be psycho.
Literally all have lobotomies. That's
It's
so
just
crazy.
psychosis.
Like lobotomies are insane.
I know.
That's really crazy. I definitely would have been given one in middle school.
I think they still do something similar to that.
There's
Merlin
no
was
way.
talking about it.
Is it like electrode something?
Maybe.
Shock therapy and psychosurgery.
That sounds terrifying. That sounds like conversion therapy or something.
That's like insane to me.
Yeah.
Also because like yes, they do know like certain regions of the brain do certain things, but they know so little about the brain
I know.
Yeah.
in comparison to what there is to learn about the brain that like say you remove like or kind of disconnect some part of the brain, you have
They're,
no
like, sounds like they're
idea.
just frying parts of your brain.
Like the neural pathways, like you have no idea like if that actually connects to something else that you like kind of need.
For sure, because I feel like a lot of people, like Robin Williams, a lot of people that struggle mentally are like the greatest. Like they have other talents, or very creative, or very like their feelings are like a superpower in a way. Like there's a lot of good
Yeah.
qualities that come from it. So I wonder
Yeah.
if you like shut that off, if the good qualities would also disappear. I don't know. Maybe that's just what my mom always told me, and she's like, "You're so special."
No, yeah, I think like let's say you feel things very strongly. You have very big feelings and that's what makes you depressed all the time because you feel too much of, the pain and the pain in your own life and the pain in other people's lives. And so you get this procedure so that you stop feeling so much. Well, then you're not going to be able to emote your feelings to if you're you're a creative person somehow. Like you're not going to be able to access those feelings anymore to write about it or to you know, whatever it is that you do. Like
That's how I felt on Lexapro. So I can't imagine actually cutting off something in your brain.
I think that is such a big thing, and that's why I really appreciate when like creators talk about how they like switch medications and this like help them. Like Ken just talked about switching medications. And she's like, I can actually feel things for the first time. Like she's like, I actually feel happy and I actually feel excited to do things now. And I think like because maybe for the last 2 years she just thought that was like normal or like that was better. That was the better feeling than feeling as anxious as she did or depressed as she did. So like that was like better. So I think it's so great when like we have these discussions about like our medications and switching things and like what therapy does or all, I think it's just nice to know that there's other options or like other things to discuss with your doctor. And I also think it's like good that we're talking about like switching doctors or like trying to find something different, even though it's hard because like we each have had a different experience with our doctors and medications. And I think that's like very telling of like, okay, there are good doctors that listen and like want to work with you and stuff. And if they're shutting you down, like finding a new doctor might be better than like
Everyone makes an appointment with your doctor, Brit.
I know. I feel like I need to make sure I like book up my appointments for the next
Literally.
like 6 months.
No, that is so true though. And then for different periods of needing different things, like I still am glad that I did Lexapro at that time because I think I needed the stronger cutting off more of my feelings at that time than I do now. It's so weird.
sure.
And also of knowing your family history of like my mom was on Lexapro, so they put me on that first because they knew it would probably like if certain medicine works for your other family members, then typically that can work for you as well.
Yeah.
Or it's like good to try first.
I definitely have been
that's
feeling
crazy.
way better with trazodone at night.
Oh, that's good.
I think I'm gonna keep on it.
I'm interested to see like what your Aura Ring measures with your sleep and stuff.
I
You should,
know.
because I wonder if the trazodone like alters any of your sleep cycles to, like, are you still able to go into the REM cycle, or are you, I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
I'm too
That is
scared to
interesting.
like do too much analysis with the Oura ring, but I will test it out.
I just want to know
No,
like
that's
how long
good.
you're in each cycle.
What if I'm just in like REM all night?
I wonder that about weed as well. I got this gelato. That's weed gelato.
Oh,
It's
have you seen the
delicious.
nowadays?
Yes. That looks, I want to try it. That looks pretty cool. But also,
I would be
I
interested to
don't
try
know.
that. I'm afraid of things that will be like the thing that I am confident about when you're inhaling it and smoking it is it's not like going to
Goes
be in your
away.
system forever.
Yeah.
So I'm afraid to like digest it.
Yeah, no, I think it's just taking a real small amount at first.
Yeah.
But even so, that makes sense.
But the weed gelato, how is it?
It's delicious. And you don't really feel like high.
How quickly does it hit you?
Probably like 30 minutes or something. But it was like $9 for 100 milligrams. So I just have been taking a little spoonful at night. And it made me
How big
sleep
is
good.
it?
The whole jar is like this big, probably. So it's just like one spoonful. Or
Like a scoop?
Less than a spoonful. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
But I wonder that of like your REM sleep and whatnot, like how much that changes.
I think weed is known to like disrupt your REM cycle.
Well, it's weird because people say that they don't remember their dreams if they're high, but I always remember my dreams. Like that's never. Like I could give you so many dreams.
Yeah, I just had a dream that I couldn't find Willow at a party.
That's sad. Did you bring her to the party or the party was at your house?
I brought her to the party for some reason.
That's fun.
Mm-hmm.
Love that. I just saw a girl post on TikTok about a different brand of ring. And it's not going to be helpful information because I don't remember the brand. But she was saying like she likes it way better than the Oura ring, and like it keeps track of like your steps mostly way better. Because like
I don't know how that is because it's still on your finger.
I literally don't understand it whatsoever of how it keeps track of anything. Like it doesn't make any sense to me.
True.
That like
Yeah,
makes
I
my
don't know
brain
what
actually
sleep
like
cycle you're in.
implode to think about like the coding and the like
Oh my god.
all the things that go into that tiny little ring. Tracks all of this stuff, like your temperature, like the oh my god.
It doesn't make sense. Like
Aura just came out with a new heart health thing.
Oh.
So it tells you like your cardiovascular age. Mine is 4 years under my actual age.
Oh, that's good.
But you
That's
can
probably
do
enough.
you're supposed to take the walking test. So you walk for 6 minutes and it like records something.
Oh,
for some
that's
reason.
cool.
I don't know. So
That's really
yeah.
cool.
it just popped up today, so I'm gonna do that.
That is cool about like new technology like that of where you can buy something and then they can still upgrade its features and whatnot past when you already bought it. Like you don't have to get the new model every single time.
That is so that's crazy.
It's really cool.
They're just how
I know.
Isn't that,
How?
but isn't that nuts
things?
that happens with the Teslas?
Yeah, that's what
Like
I was just gonna say.
they're upgrading or like updating the self-driving shit.
That's crazy. It doesn't make sense.
if you already have the car, so you can just like do an update or something.
Yeah. Isn't that
That's
kind of
cool.
scary? It scares me.
Did you see the iOS updates for text messages?
Oh my
and
god,
stuff?
yes.
That looks
No.
really
They're
cool.
finally you
What
can
is
put whatever emoji you want to respond to a text.
Oh,
That was
good.
my idea.
Mhm. And you can, yeah, credit to them. You can schedule your texts, which is pretty cool.
Oh,
Oh,
cool.
I kind of love that.
Like if I was like sending a happy birthday in advance.
My mom's gonna schedule. You owe me $40 this month or whatever. Like, just automate that. You still
Oh,
owe
yeah.
me.
That's funny. And you can do AI emojis where you like can type in
Oh,
anything
yeah.
like giraffe with flower and hat. And
I
then it,
hope
like,
they
that's
make
so
a
cool.
corgi.
a corgi. I'm sure.
Uh-huh.
I would hope so.
A corgi with a fluffy butt.
Mm-hmm.
What are the fluffy corgis called?
Fluffy. Fluffy corgi.
Like that's
They're
not
fluffies.
that's their actual name.
I think so.
Is it just long hair? Or
Yeah,
they're
they
all
have
long.
they have like a gene mutation. They have the fluffy gene.
Oh, so does that mean they're bad?
Like
Yeah,
on the
you can't
AKC
show
website,
them.
it says fluffy.
You can't show them? Oh, but I love the fluffy ones.
Fluffy corgis have a thick, I don't know if that actually just means normal corgi. Long-haired fluffy corgi. Yeah, I know that's what I want next. But yeah, they're not like, you can't show them. They don't have, they have a mutation, so they're not, according to corgi standards, like,
That's so dumb.
Do you think you'd get like raked across the coals for getting one? Knowing like that it's not. Or is it fine to get one?
they're fine to get. They just like, sometimes they come out in a litter.
Oh,
If
okay.
the like Willow's dad was a carrier of the fluffy gene or whatever,
Oh,
so
okay.
he technically could have had a fluffy corgi.
Fluffy baby.
I think Willow has pretty long hair. I mean, it's not fluffy technically,
Yeah.
but it's some
Long.
corgis have really short hair, and she has
Yeah.
like medium hair.
That's so interesting. Like even both of my dog's ears, like one of them flops down and then one is like up more. And when they were both like 5 months old, 6 months old or something, everyone was like, you need to tape up their ears, like or
Oh.
make them so they're both the same. Like they won't qualify for anything if their ears aren't
Like
the
I have to
perfect way.
fix
I
them
was like,
anyways. I'm not trying to qualify them.
yeah, I was like, I'm not trying to show them. Like we're not doing dog shows out here. I like their little floppy ears.
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, I'm pretty dumb. Okay, well, are we done?
Did we talk?
Was that like a good episode on depression? Like,
I know.
I think it was a good recap of our current mental health things.
yeah.
I will say I still struggle all the time with like comparison, and that's like my biggest contributor of my depressive thoughts.
Are you only comparing yourself to people online, or does that also happen in person?
Literally just online, I think. But it's like because I still have not reached these goals that I'm setting for myself, and that gets frustrating. And
Like
I don't
Kylie
even,
hitting
that's
1
probably
million.
not even depression. The depression is when the thoughts become too obsessive and it ruins my whole day because I feel like I'm not doing good enough.
Well, I think those like thoughts become like things. Like they like start to impact like those thoughts are not just like one time you're thinking about, oh, so and so is better than me, or like I can never be like that. It's not just a one time thing. Then it like actually becomes like part of what you're like
Your
subconscious
story that
like,
you tell yourself.
yeah, and it's like a constant. So it kind of makes sense that like the continuous comparing is like impacting your mood and like
For me, it makes
everything
me
else.
fully act differently. Like on days like that, I'll be way less productive.
Yeah.
If I don't work out, I'll like fully
It's all like
be the person I
self-fulfilling
don't want to
too.
be. Yeah.
Yeah, which is
Yeah.
kind of annoying because you're like, oh, I want to be like inspired by these people, but instead I'm just over here like
Yeah.
not doing anything to like.
But that's really
further-
where I wonder. I just feel like the less time I spend on my phone, the happier I am, like in all circumstances.
I did actually just have somebody like recommend to me journaling more of those like positive affirmations. And not even it was like a little bit different than a positive affirmation, but just like positive things about yourself or like positive reframes. So like if you're kind of thinking like, oh, I'm never going to get there, like, oh, like every day is like one step to getting better. Like every day, something that used to be really hard is now easy and I'm like able to do that. So it's like little like journaling mini reframes I think is kind of helpful, and I want to start doing that more consistently because I think I'm kind of good at that naturally, but I definitely fall off and need to like reprogram it in my brain.
One of my followers just tagged me in a TikTok. She saw a TikTok of mine from like 2 years ago where I was talking about how I switched my niche and I just felt like I didn't know my purpose on social media anymore. And she's like, wow, you've grown so much. And I was like, wow, I actually have. Like, I
That
wish I
is
could
so
go back and
cute.
tell
So
myself, like,
I'm
cute.
tearing up a little. That's
You
so
should do a
cute.
stitch, Dev.
oh, that's a good idea. But like, still, I'm still not
Yeah.
That's
getting the brand
huge.
deals. That's still frustrating for me. But that doesn't have to do with depression. That just has to do with, I don't know, ADHD. Honestly, can't get enough shit done.
Yeah. It really is like ADHD vibes. I keep saying I'm like, I need Adderall. Like if I had Adderall, I'd be fully a different person. And Cameron keeps being like, then go to the doctor. Like
Yeah.
you've been saying this for a year and you haven't gone to the doctor. I'm like,
My
okay,
sister does that.
true. I've just been trying to get some Let Me Focus gummies.
Do you think your anxiety would get worse?
I don't know, because I've taken it like a few times. And when I took like a lower dose, then no. But then I think probably if I take too much, then yeah. It's kind of like caffeine. Like if I drink way
Yeah.
too much caffeine, then I feel anxious. But if I drink like 200 milligrams in a day, then I feel just better.
How do you know you're drinking 200 milligrams?
Because an Alani is 200 milligrams.
Oh. I was like, wow, that's precise. I'm like, I don't know how much is in coffee.
I think each Nespresso is 100, like the double espresso.
I think I want
I'm
to
pretty
not
sure.
do caffeine for like an extended period of time. I haven't been drinking coffee this week or last
I
week,
really don't think caffeine is helpful to me.
but I just like the ritual of coffee.
Yeah.
But there's like just the good coffee, like the coffee I really like drinking.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they come in decaf.
Yeah.
I should see if Joe can find some good quality decaf coffee.
For
You
me, I
should.
think it's like what I put in my coffee, like the oat milk and chocolate and vanilla. It's probably not good.
I got this like protein powder that's caramel latte flavored. Maybe that's why I've been
Oh.
fine not drinking coffee, because it tastes so good. But like instead of doing sugar or like any sweeteners, I just put like a little bit of that in my coffee, and it kind of makes it taste a little sweet.
Oh,
And I get
That
I
sounds
need
good.
it to be a lot of sweet.
yeah, same.
Well, you could put more protein flavor in your coffee.
I have been being better about protein things, like just switching little. Like when I get
That's
spaghetti,
good.
I get the Bonza spaghetti.
Me
Little
too.
things like
if,
that.
if you just get good Rao's sauce, I mean, it still tastes
covers it.
amazing.
Oh, did you get your Costco?
Costco didn't have the Arborita or whatever
That's my favorite.
sauce. They only had like the traditional marinara, at least on
Oh.
Instacart. But I like the spicy one. It's so fucking
Me
good.
too.
It's
You
like
could probably
I could
just
drink
put
it.
some Calabrian chilies in the Rouse one.
Some what now?
Calabrian chilies. That's
Some
like how they
Peruvian
make spicy.
Collaborate chilies.
Calabrian chilies.
Where do you buy
the fuck
those?
do you get that?
Guys, that's like a normal thing. Do you guys watch Wishbone Kitchen?
No.
Yeah.
She's always about her Calabrian chilies. It's just like they come in a little jar, but that's like how they make like spicy tomato sauce.
Oh.
I did not
Yeah.
know that.
I'm gonna get the spicy sauce and add.
Yeah.
Add more.
Well, you could also just
Really?
get the Costco version and then
Oh
add
yeah.
Calabrian
This one
chilies.
fancy Italian restaurant that we used to go to, I think, had a spicy sauce with these in it.
That's how I think
Are they like chunky or you really cut them up?
like so they come in like an oil, I think, usually, so you can kind of like put some of the oil in for the spice, and then they come in like they're kind of like mushy because they've been like in that oil.
I
So
love
you can
chili
kind of like
oil.
chop them up more.
Like this or
Oh.
something.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Get it on Amazon, apparently.
The reason I know about them is because I avoid the fuck out of them because I can't eat them.
Oh.
So if I see Calabrian chilies on the menu, I'm like, oh, I need to avoid.
This is where we don't mesh.
Yeah. What did I eat recently that had like surprise Calabrian chilies?
Surprise.
Yeah, I didn't read the menu closely enough, and I was like, fuck.
Makes me imagine them like coming to life. And
You
dancing.
know,
Surprise, bitch. We're
It's like an
here.
SNL sketch.
that's so funny. Okay, well, we're gonna continue talking on our Patreon. Somebody asked us a question in our members only Patreon about finances and like how we grew up and our financial situations and not. So we're gonna talk about that. And
that's
continue talking about other things. What else are we gonna talk about on Patreon?
You said you had a little list.
Me?
Yeah.
I don't know if I have a little list, but I'm sure I'll think of things.
You did at the beginning of this. You said, I have a little thing, but I'm going to save it.
I don't know. I'll have to think on that.
Circle back.
But make sure you subscribe to our Patreon if you want to hear those conversations. We post an extended episode, basically a second episode every single week. Then we also do monthly bonus Q&As. It's on patreon.com/SoGladWe'reFriends. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on TikTok and Instagram. And we'll see you next week. Love you. Bye.
Bye.